Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Brand Zone. We have a very special guest here today, Miss Kara Mcmaster. She's been vital, critical portion to get me this far. I've taken a couple of her trainings and her mentorships, and it's really brought me a lot of value. So you all are in for a treat, to say the least. So she scaled an agency to a very big agency, a very big agency, and so I just want to pick her brain, and if you all have any questions, feel free to leave those in the comments, and we can make this a Q&A as well. So, Kara, thank you so much for being on the show. How's it going?
It's really great. Thanks so much for that awesome intro. I feel humbled to have had an effect on your path so far. So that's very cool.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Just full of knowledge, and I'm very appreciative of it as well. And so, first of all, just how long have you been in the agency space? What got you going? Yeah, just a little background there.
Yeah, so I took on my very first, I guess you could say, client. I think I was much more of a freelancer at the time, 2017. And that was all because I had another company called Caveman Grocer where we did a paleo meal delivery service. And I got really, really good at growing that really fast through Facebook ads. And I did it so quickly and so fast in the ski town that I lived in, a little place called Whistler up in Canada, and I won an award. I won an award for Business Person of the Year. So it caused a lot of people to reach out and be like, "Hey, can you help me build my business?" And I was like, "Well, maybe." And that's kind of what launched my career. Was I actually had quite a few people reaching out asking me for services to help them grow their businesses. And then I eventually completely niched down into working with realtors only, and we did that very successfully for close to 7 years.
Awesome, awesome. And so, 7 years been working with realtors. What are some of the challenges you faced when starting with realtors, working with realtors, and some of the things you had to overcome to get to where you're at now?
So I'll approach this from twofold. So there's definitely challenges when working specifically with realtors, which I'll happy to touch base on because I think that it's not just realtors. I think we'll go back there, but when you look at servicing the real estate industry, you're already presented with a pretty large crux, and that is the life cycle, how long it takes to get a deal done. So, putting all my services aside and what we do, if we send a realtor in tomorrow to do a listing and they close that listing and everything goes really smoothly and they put it up right away and they close it right away, they're still waiting a long time to get that check to get paid out from their brokerage on the commission of that sale. So it already presents a very large kind of elephant in the room over being able to quickly get an ROI on services. And, a lot of realtors, especially when they're starting out, they don't have huge amounts of money just sitting around in order to get them leads. So when we look at that as a person who serves realtors and who runs an agency for that, you are constantly fighting that battle of managing expectations, managing their budgets, how long can they stay with you for? Because realistically, real estate leads, somebody who can dedicate to a process for an entire year is going to see the most bang and buck from it. It's when, it's they come in, try it out, and they leave quickly thereafter. Presents challenges for both the realtor and the agency owner. So I definitely learned a ton about the dedication to a lead on
Right.
both sides of the equation. So for my realtors, what had to go into converting that lead, but also for myself, because these realtors being in the business of houses, the leads is the lifeline of their business, as it is with most, but they're indoctrinated with that. So they're always on the search
Hmm.
for lead generation and so forth. So having them come in and trust you and understand your services and setting clear expectations was always a key to really essentially getting them as many wins as possible.
Most definitely. And someone asked me that question today, and I pretty much said the same thing. Like, what are some of the challenges you faced with running a SMMA? And basically, it's bigger than a SMMA. Like, you're a full business development program, basically, because you have to qualify that lead. You have to ensure they show up. You know, that comes with ensuring deliverability of texts, phone calls, and monitoring spam, and it's a lot that goes into ensuring the quality product is quality for your clients. So I'm with you there. It's, you know, it's not really the problem getting the lead. Yeah, we can get you the leads, but what happens after that? You know, anyone can
Yeah.
generate leads, but what happens after that? So that's awesome. And so as far as business goes with scaling your agency to where it's at, I know fulfillment is huge to increase that retention and things like that. As far as the first touch point, like you said, you have to get them to trust you. For agency owners out there, how can we increase the chances of a prospect potentially to say yes?
Oh, I love this question. Um, because this is the very problem that we solve for businesses that we work with today. So we mainly hang out in the tech space now, helping business owners solve this. But we picked tech. You know, obviously, what we do is specific to tech on how we help them achieve that. But we specifically picked tech because they seem to have more challenges than others because they're usually led by founders who are very good at product dev. But when we are trying to convince somebody to work with us, when it came in through ads or even more so outbound, there is a huge amount of trust that needs to be built up along the journey. So, right away, we really have to look at from the time that a lead comes into our system all the way to the time that they have their first conversation with us, every single step that is happening. And sometimes we don't realize that the smallest little thing will put somebody off, which can cause us to have, unqualified leads, wrong expectations, high no-show rates. We want to mitigate that as much as possible before we even had a conversation. So some of the things that sort of in terms of tactical of what you could do is lengthening out your sales cycle, not expecting people to come and be a one and done, really focusing on each step of the stage. So when we're doing the outbound, we're just focusing on getting them into that first intro call. And when we get them into the first intro call, we're just examining, like, can I actually help this person? Can they get value from my services? And then just focusing on the demo of what it is that you actually do. And so one of the rules that I always used when we were scaling up our real estate company was I ensured that our team would not try to what us in the agency space call a one call close unless you had trust. So I've taken some recent mentorship with some various sales programs. And one of the things that my mentors say that I really, really love is there's really three main things that you need to have on a call in order to close somebody. And that is they realize that there is a character flaw. There's something broken that they need to fix. The second one is that they need to have an identity shift. They know that in order to get to the goals of what it is that they want, that something has to happen. There has to be a big change that's happening. And then the third thing is trust, right? If they've never heard of you before, if that they didn't pay attention to any of the materials that you sent over, they just kind of have no idea, that it's probably not a good time to make an offer for them to come on board because they're just not ready. So when you look at those three things, there are certain assets that we can include along the way of the customer journey to increase the likelihood that you can achieve those three outcomes that you're trying to get, the character flaw, the identity change, and the trust. So tactical, make it longer in the number of steps that you talk to this person and how you talk to them, inserting various VSLs, content. You can have testimonials. You can have lots of pieces that move into the nurturing. And not to go off on a tangent here, but where I really love to pick up steam for the clients that we work with, and what I always did in my businesses was I tracked all those actions. Like, I knew when you got on a call with me, I saw exactly what you went and checked out on my website. I saw that you did or you didn't look at my case studies. I saw how truly warm you were so that I could make that call with you during the demo whether you were actually ready to be offered to work with us. And if you weren't, then we're going to send you off to go and consume some more materials. So those are just a few high level ways in which we can really get people super warm into considering working with us.
That's awesome. If no one gets anything else from the show, that was enough right there. I mean, a lot of us frivolously go at this and just say, "Okay, I'm gonna get this lead. I'm gonna talk to them on the intro, and then do a demo, and that's it." You know, and the follow ups not there. The sale cycle is not there. It's nothing really there, and we're trying to figure out why we're not having that kind of success. But you're actually grading the leads based on the interactions they've taken on your site and making them a warmer lead, hotter lead, which is just incredible. That is amazing. It's like really squeezing the juice from the lead. So that is awesome. And as far as the methods that you're using to get in front of realtors or anyone in the agency space, are you do you have multiple channels running at once, or are you just focused on one particular channel where they live? What are you doing there?
So there's a few different point of views on this. I think specifically within the agency space, and they kind of come down into my mind. They move into two ways, and that is paid ads, and then there's outbound. Social media and organic leads are amazing and they're great, but they're a beast of their own. I kind of almost look at those like a referral lead, and that's not something that we can typically scale. It's not a lever that we can pull, and we know that more leads are going to come out. Whereas we know if we spend a certain amount of money on ads, that's we know that there's a certain amount of leads, and as well as with outbound. The issues where most, and I mean most people go wrong when it comes to outbound is just focusing on one channel. And that probably worked 5 years ago, before we had all these agencies in the space, before we had every man and their dog running cold email or LinkedIn or cold calling or Facebook DMs or insert your platform here. The key, what we see now, is you need an outbound strategy that's going to attack them on all levels and then continue to track the behavior. So when we see that somebody has clicked on one of the assets that we've sent them on a video, come back to our website, when you have an internal CRM that can track that and then create what we like to call a top 10, that way you can call these people the next day as soon as you see that an action was clicked on. As soon as you see, not even the next day, if you're on there and you get the notification set up properly. Speed to lead is important. So while outbound, these spray and pray methods, the amount that you do is important. But where most people completely fall short is having that system sync with each other and being able to identify, of all those people that you just sent these pieces of content and lead magnets and videos out to, who's actually taking action, and then gives clarity to a team on who's most important that I talked to today.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, when you are doing outbound, are you doing more a top, middle, bottom funnel method, or is it just straight bottom of the funnel, or is it kind of a mix there?
So it depends on the platform. That's where some changes will be made. We notice on places like LinkedIn, you do want to use just a very general opening statement to get the connection request through. The second message still wants to be like, "Hey, like admiring what you guys got going on. It's very cool." And then that's where we get into messages from 3 down to 15. And everyone heard that correctly, 15
Oh,
is
man.
the amount of messages that we need to put out about what your really good, juicy offer is. And again, this is where a lot of people miss the beat when it comes to outbound, is that you have to have something that speaks to a really big transformational outcome, and it solves a problem that they've never heard of in a way that's been solved before. So you
Mm,
have to create curiosity, and you have to hit to the very core of what your ICP, your ideal client, customer profile looks like. What are the biggest challenges that they're having, and how do you solve that? And what's the specific result? And I think where a lot of people go wrong, especially, people, sometimes we think that just because right off the top we don't have a we don't have a say over their revenue numbers or their profit, but we do. If you're offering something in the B2B space, or even, when we're insurance agents talking to people where they're spending money, we have to really focus on like, where does that if that where does that lead them, usually money wise.
Mm,
Money and relationships are usually the two most utmost important things for a human being. So if you could focus your core offer and your transformational outcome around that, that's key. And the reason why I bring that up is, we have a couple of cybersecurity firms that work with us, and they like, Kara, LinkedIn doesn't work, and I was like, well, let's look at your messaging, and it was like, well, I think, okay, I know that I have to stay secure. Like, I know that, like, my data needs to be in a certain way, and maybe, you're having better luck in regulations because they have to. But for the guys that doesn't have to, like, how much money are they going to be liable for if they don't solve problem X? And so focusing on that number there can usually get you a few more eyeballs than just, focusing on the actual deliverables of what your product does.
that's awesome. That's awesome. So it just depends on the platform, your strategy when it comes to that particular platform. That's awesome. And everyone, follow Kara McMaster if you want to get more information. I know it's kind of like a lot of information at once, and it's a lot of nuances involved. So get with her; she'll be more than happy to help you, I'm sure, navigate through those. So. Uh, Next, just at a high level, like when running an agency, you start building your team and things like that. Who was that pivotal person that you hired that, kind of just helps you do like the day to day, the operations to make sure that goes smooth? Like, who was that one person that really took the agency to the next level?
Yes, definitely my operations manager. Like, that woman, I always told her that she should have been born, she should have gone into engineering, because she's just so good at organizing and keeping everything and keeping everybody on their toes, and making sure that the processes and the workflows and the clients are happy and the CSMs are doing what it is that they need to do. Because that, like, this, I think good entrepreneurs have the ability to be integrators. I think really good ones have the ability to do that. But even if you're good at that, that's that's not our role. Our role is
Right.
truly to be the visionary of the company. So the more time that you can spend in the creativity side of the business, then the better off that agency is just going to be. So, if you can't afford an operations manager, you need to find somebody who believes in your vision, who perhaps you can give them a piece of the sales, as you continue to grow. That's what we did with this new company. Was we needed to pay a lot, but we couldn't pay a lot right from the beginning because we were launching this brand new offer right off the ground, and we really just built the vision. And that's really what you have to do if you can't afford it yet, because it was a game changer as soon as we brought that person on, and then of course really started scaling our ads. We hit that 7-figure run rate pretty quickly.
That's awesome. And just out of curiosity, if you don't mind, like how did you find that person? Was it through it doesn't matter? Would it be like Indeed, LinkedIn? It doesn't matter. It's just about, the application process
Your network. So
network.
some of the best hires I've ever had have all been from my existing network. And then, we've used Indeed and all those other places over the years, but I will say that my network has always produced the top A players that we have.
Okay, okay, that's very important. I know that I'm at that point in my agency, really, where I'm thinking about team, and the few roles I have allow me to a little more freedom, but it's still that tactical piece that I'm trying to implement in my current company. Because right now I'm the operations guy. Like I'm like moving and like make sure this happens all over the place. But at least now I have the team to tell to do that. To now I need to just fill in my spot so I can, like you're doing, get more offers out there and be a visionary of the company. So that's very critical. I feel like with scaling the agency is having that operations person in place.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, I know we're 20 minutes in. Any advice you have, and we'll wrap up 20 minutes with people's attention span now. Know, I think 20 to 30 minutes is sufficient. So, any kind of recommendation you have to someone trying to scale to 10K a month, someone trying to scale to 20, and someone trying to scale to 100?
Yeah. So for the guys who are going to 10K a month, you really do have to obsess over sales while not forgetting about your clients. You definitely want to do all the things that you said that you would do for that client to the best of your ability. However, not to the detriment of the business. That along the way, when you're at 10K, you're going to get shitty clients in the door. It's just going to happen and it's going to be a part of it. And you're going to have to learn to enjoy the ride. As we scale up to kind of 20, 30, the advice doesn't change a whole lot. You're looking at just bringing on some good team members. When we start moving beyond that number, it's by now you've probably figured out a good way to acquire clients. The key really is keeping the existing clients that you have. And the best way to do that is this. I remember a big coaching call that I had in one of the coaching programs that I used to be in, and there was about 50 or so students all trying to scale their business. And we had a student come on there complaining about the lack of care and attention that one of his clients was giving to his ads and leads that he was running. And he said, if they just gave 100% on exactly it is what I told them to do, they would win the system. And that's why I said, that's where you got to fix it. You got to figure out a way how can your clients give 50% and win at 100%. We
Mm,
can't expect our clients to know and do everything. Otherwise, they wouldn't have hired us in the first place. So you have to make it really, really easy for your clients to win. And that is where we are now in the landscape of 2023, where it's not just a lead generator anymore. And it's not just about appointments. It's actually, you have to teach them how to actually close those appointments. Essentially, you're teaching them how to build a sales organization inside of their company.
yeah. That's it. That's it. I mean, that's how you win with value. Bringing value to your clients, even in your sales presentation, all the things they get. Like, oh, I'm getting coaching. I'm getting appointment set. I have a call center calling my lead. You're really bringing value to because they're busy people too. I don't know what they have going on, and yeah, so they're busy, and so we have to make that seamless process, but they have to put in a little work, but it's still seamless as possible. Like pick up those pieces,
Absolutely.
be that leverage for them. But
Mm-hmm.
Kara, this was amazing. It was a lot to digest. Where can people find you if they want more information, more from you, or help, or with anything?
Yeah, I'm Kara.Mcmaster on all the socials. So come find me, MCMASTER. Come message me if you found some value today. I'd love to know. And if there's anything I can do to help out the community, and that's what I'm always here for.
Awesome. Well, again, appreciate it, Kara. This has been amazing. Thanks so much for your time. It's been a pleasure, and I hope you have a great Labor Day weekend.
Thank you so much for having me on.
All right. Thanks.